Hello and welcome to your in-depth weekly horoscope for week commencing the 1st of August. This is for the Sun or the Ascendant. As we come into this new month, what I'm going to do is give you a flavour of what to expect for us all collectively. But please stay with me as I dive deep to give each of the 12 zodiac signs from Aries through to Pisces a much more forensic interpretation. Now, this week does see an incredibly powerful combination of energies in the sign of Taurus. Taurus, of course, is very much about the foundation of our situations. It's about stability. It's a fixed sign. But the North Node, which moved into Taurus on the 18th of January, is almost like the karma of our attitude towards consumption, food, anything to do with consumerism, but it can also be to do with the crust of the planet as well. Now, when we put Uranus in the mix, that can be very much to do with truth, but it can also be to do with confrontation and being much more changeable in a sign that resists change, so that can create tension. And then Mars in the mix, that creates an ignition point, particularly with Uranus. So the potential for weather events that are quite extreme is definitely increased with this combination, and it can make us much more aware of the direction of travel that we're going in terms of the type of fuels that we've used traditionally and the way that we've perhaps embraced fast food rather than enjoying more rustic consumption of food and making food from scratch. That's much less popular than it ever used to be. I think Uranus can throw some light on all of this and give us a bit of a shock to look at things again. So there can be a lot of tension this week, but also the outcome of our behaviour over a period of time. Now, the Sun and Mercury, of course, the Sun's in its home zone of Leo. Mercury's there at the start of the week, but on Thursday it does move into one of its two signs that it governs, and this one is Virgo. In this case, Mercury is very much about dry precision. This is about attention to detail. And that can be a very good thing. So if you've got a creative idea, but you want to bind it into something that's more workable, then Mercury will certainly help that process. There's also on Friday a quarter moon in the sign of Scorpio. Now, this can bring up some issues to do with jealousy, possessiveness, control in any relationship, but particularly a close personal relationship. For some folks, it could mean that we're going to have a big fascination with someone, particularly with Mars and Uranus in the mix, and it could be something that's very electric, but whether it will be long lasting is another matter. Now, it just so happens that Mars and Saturn are also in a right angle this week. This is really quite challenging. This is where we have Mars, which is very much about moving quickly, instant gratification, coming up against the more resistant energies and limiting energies of Saturn. Saturn in the sign of the collective, Aquarius in a retrograde, Mars in the sign of Taurus, very much about consumption. Quickly, I want it now, that instant gratification. So I think there's going to be some more potential shocks and pushbacks around the cost of living, unfortunately. We could also see some industrial disputes with all this mix of energies. But there is, towards the end of this week, a quite enchanting link between Venus and Neptune, both in water signs, Venus in Cancer, very nurturing, and Neptune in its home sign of Pisces. If you are lucky enough to have that electric connection to someone, but there is also some more spiritual or emotional connection beyond the physical plane, then this could be a really exciting opportunity. For those of us in ongoing relationships, I think the important thing to avoid this week is being too fixed in our ideas, trying to be flexible with 4 lots of fixed energy going on with the quarter moon. So we've got the Leo stuff, the Scorpio quarter moon, we've got that cluster of energy in Taurus, plus we've got the Saturn in Aquarius. There's a lot of fixed energy and then a lot of frustration can play out this week. So it's going to be important to try to keep cool. But please stay with me for my in-depth examination of your sign. But if you would like to ascend above zodiac astrology and understand more about your personal astrology, if you give me 3 pieces of personal birth data in terms of your time, date and place of birth, I can give you a roadmap that can guide you for the rest of your life. But beyond that, also in my 30% off special offer package, a 12-month personal horoscope. No 2 charts are ever the same. They're completely individually produced for the person that provides that data. And if you'd like to take advantage of that, please see the link below. Finally, crash through the 100,000 subs mark. We're pretty well nearly at the 101,000 mark, may even be through it by the time you watch this. But if you've yet to subscribe to my channel, I'd be honoured if you did so now. If you have done already, thank you so much. So Scorpio, your week commencing the 1st of August forecast sees the Sun and Mercury initially still high in the sky, your 10th house. That's pushing you to raise your profile, clarify your goals and ambitions. If you've got talents that you feel are worthy of greater recognition, don't be timid about pushing forwards to interact with important decision makers. But if you are someone who prefers to sort of work in a quieter, low profile way, the collection of energy for the first time in 15 years between Mars, Uranus and the North Node, but this time in Taurus, in your sector of relating, suggests that it is perhaps a time for you to step outside your comfort zone and be a bit more provocative and see where it takes you. It's just that with Saturn in retrograde in your 4th house, this is also still a time when you're very conscious of your home environment, your family needs, and your sense of personal identity. And you know, because Saturn is being challenged by your traditional ruler this week, there may be another part of you, ironically, with the Sun in such a prominent location, where you do feel more reticent, even a bit timid, and not quite sure what to do. Now, this all comes up to the boil on the back of the quarter moon in your sign on Friday, and you may have some decisions to make. You know, do you go with what's really important for you, the individual, or do you continue to adhere to a structure where a role is more defined for you and you have to fit in with that? Or is this a time that you are going to be more provocative, as I say? Now, Venus is really helping you at the moment, and it will do particularly towards the end of this week. If you are single, someone can both excite you this week, but also fascinate you, it all in one go. But just take it all the way back to how does it feel, and that will guide you. But Mercury moves later this week into your sector of longer term planning, but also where you can successfully network with others. So when it comes to your work, it's not just what you know, it can definitely be a case of who you know too.